Morning, everyone. So today, let's see, is July 18th, and as you could hear, I'm just in my tent and the rain is pattering down. So making this video, I'm doing something a little bit different than I usually do. So it's future me right now. I'm at Ethan Pond Shelter, which is at the base of the presidential range. Almost. We have like 4 miles to Crawford Notch. Today we're going to start the climb up the presidentials and finish it off tomorrow. But weather's bad, so we're not going to do the whole thing today. Anyway, I haven't done a lot of talking updates the last couple days. So what I'm going to do, I took a lot of video clips and I'm going to just reflect back upon, and while I'm talking here, show clips of the previous few days. So we'll see how it works out. Haven't done it before, but I'm just going to voice over. So starting, well, you saw already, Uncle Stephen dropped us off. It was awesome staying with him. We had a blast. Then we hiked up over Smart Mountain, which had a fire tower. We had beautiful views. And the day after was just rainy, nasty, which was kind of tough. And now getting to where we're starting off, we camped right at the base of Moosalok. This is where we officially got into the White Mountains. The night wasn't bad. The rain held out, unlike the previous day. And the climb started pretty gradual. We had some nice fields. It was about 4 miles from camp to the summit of Moosalok. And quickly after that, once we started climbing, it was pretty tough. I was with Trainer, and Savage was somewhere behind, and I think he just wanted to sleep in a little bit. Caught up to us later on. We got up to the top, and the main peak is Moosalok, but there's a lookout called South Peak. And the weather was looking good, it was looking clear, so we headed over to South Peak. And we were all pumped up, you could see in this video. We got up there and the views were just amazing. What a special way to get into the White Mountains. It was a little cloudy, but it is really pretty. You saw Moosalok in the back, and before we knew it, we were up there taking pictures and a cloud blew in and it was foggy again. So on our walk over to the high peak, Moosalok, the real high peak, this cloud just kind of blew in and the whole thing was fogged over. So we were really happy we took that little side trail to South Peak and get the views. But once we got to Moosalok, it was neat up there, but we couldn't see anything. It was all fogged in, which is fairly common. I think most of the high peaks are always fogged in. At the top of Moosalok, not just the first high peak. Look what we just realized. If you look closely, really closely, mile 1800!
Hell yeah,
that's a nice surprise. Yeah. We waited for Savage a little bit, had lunch, and started walking down. We filled up from a spring at the top of the mountain. We always filter our water. Some people don't, but even these high mountain springs we filter just in case. After that, we started descending down Moosalok, and it was just wet and steep, so I was moving really slow. They had these wooden slabs that were bolted into the rocks for steps, which was nice, but the steps were also slippery. So it was just slow moving going down Moosalok. And I forgot to say, this day, we did a 17.5 mile day, which in the whites is a lot, but it just worked out well to do that. following the trail as we descended down Moose Lock was this waterfall, and they paralleled for a long time, so it was really neat. It started as a little spring and it's turning into just a big waterfall as we go down. It was really, really pretty following it. We had great views. If it was nice out, it would be beautiful swimming there. And after this, we're going up over a smaller mountain, which we didn't think was a big deal. And that was Mount Wolf. So it wasn't a huge climb, but it was just nasty, Mount Wolf. It was just a hard day this day on the trail. It was all muddy. Just the trail was just ridiculous. It was wet, slippery, muddy, the whole way up, the whole way down. And like, I stopped and made dinner at the top, which was about 3 miles from camp, because I was just wiped. I was tired and needed a break from the mud. So I think it rained part of the day also, but not most of the day. It was hard going through that mud. Alright, so I just summited Mount Wolf a little while ago. It was a decent sized climb, but not a 4,000 footer. So it wasn't like a high peak or anything. And it's good. Today's a big day. It turned into being a 17 today. I still have 3 miles to camp. But I think just now that we're getting to some serious climbs, 17's a lot. But I'm beat. I don't know if I just didn't sleep great last night or what, or it's just a big day, but I just stopped for dinner because I was getting hungry. So it's probably 6 o'clock now, and I'm just starting walking. But it's getting a little challenging here, so I'm gonna wait. And let's see. It was raining for a lot of this afternoon, and it's just muddy mess. The whole trail's muddy for the most part, and it's alright, but just as taxing after a while, being soaked in muddy. But we're getting through. Tomorrow we're going into Lincoln, so we'll get some real food and dry out again a little bit, which will be nice, because I've just been soaked. I think Vermont kind of wore it out of me, the wetness. But that's it. I'm going to chug along. We're going to Elijah Brook Shelter, which is right at the base of Kinsman, which is the next 4,000 footer high peak. And we're talking about maybe trying to get a sunrise up there, so we'd have to get a super early start. Probably 3:30 to 4, which would be challenging, but really cool to get a sunrise if it's nice up there. We'll see. Might be a cool adventure. So we decided we should try to get a sunrise on top of Kinsman. So we got up there, or we got up at that campsite right at the base of Kinsman around 3 a.m. It was around 2.5 miles to the summit, and sun rose about 5:15. So got up. It was hard. Probably left camp by 3:30 and climbed the mountain in the dark with headlights, which was neat. It was fun. Got up to the top, and about a 1/4 mile from the top, it was all fogged in. So it was kind of like driving a car in a fog, just using your headlight. It was just hard to see. There was so much fog with your bright light on. So we're all bummed out. We got up at 3 to see the sunrise, and it's just all foggy. So we're like, we're just gonna keep walking. And this night we were planning on spending in town, so like, we'll just walk to town, which was like 9 miles. A little bummed out, but as soon as we got up there, we saw some of the peaks, and the clouds, it all blew out, and it was clear. like 5 minutes before the sun rose, and it was spectacular. It was so special getting the sunrise on top of the mountain. We got so lucky. I'm not really sure how, but the clouds were really pretty. Saw a beautiful sunrise as it came up. Got some great pictures and videos, and we made breakfast up there. Had some coffee at the top. Probably spent half hour there. It was a little chilly, but it was worth every minute of it. So that was really special. Then we headed down Kinsman, which was another really hard descent. It was tough going down Kinsman. My knees were definitely hurting after that trip going down. They were feeling it. After that, we cleared up, which was nice. We had some sun. We were able to dry out a little bit. And went into Lincoln, is the town. We got a shuttle, so it was an AT taxi shuttle, $5 a person for a ride, which is like 5 miles into town. So not bad. And we stayed at a hostel. So, well, Lincoln was a pretty little town. It was really nice. As you could see, I got a little bit of a haircut, which it feels great to have a little bit shorter of hair. So I left the top kind of long. I left the beard, but I trimmed the sides down, so it looks a little wonky. But it was a compromise between like keeping the hair long and staying cool. Then, let's see, the Notch Hostel was another amazing place. So a lot of the hostels have, bad reputation. There we go. They have a bad reputation. But the Notch was really nice. We had a room to ourselves. There were bunk beds, but, also pillows and linens, which was great. And there's a communal, very well-kept kitchen. So we bought food in town and cooked up a nice dinner that night. Made spaghetti and meat sauce, and we had garlic bread. Just used their kitchen and bought it at the supermarket instead of going out for dinner, which was special. There's a lot of neat people, all hikers you get to hang out with at the hostels. See friends that you know from Montreal. And I forgot to mention also, on the way down Kinsman, before we hit town, we hit a couple of beautiful lakes. There's a shelter just off the top of Kinsman, which was, what's the name? Kinsman Pond. It's just a beautiful little alpine lake. And then the White Mountains have huts, and these huts are, we passed I think 8 huts through the Whites. They're very expensive, but you could spend the night there, and a couple people live there for the summer. A lot of them are college kids, just out of college, and that run these huts that are up in the mountain, so that these people hike in food, hike in everything, and you could stay at this lodge basically, and breakfast and dinner's included, but they also have baked goods and soup for hikers. It's a little pricey, but it's a nice treat once in a while to stop at these huts. But the first hut we stopped at had leftover breakfast, which they have to pack out their garbage down the mountain, so they need help eating it, and through hikers are already there to eat it. So we just got lucky, and they offered us some leftover breakfast from the people staying at the lodge. So Trainer and I went in, and it just worked out great. We got some leftover pancakes and oatmeal, which was awesome, for free, because they're just trying to get rid of it. But there was another beautiful lake right at that first hut we stopped at. Now, alright, skipping back ahead to the morning at the Notch. We had a lazy morning, probably got out of the hostel at noon. We had about 11 miles to do the first day, but we're doing the Franconian Ridge, which is another beautiful exposed ridge up above tree line. So the climb up Franconian was much more forgiving than Moosalok and Kinsman. It was just more enjoyable, not as difficult, still hard, I mean, just as much climbing, but not slippery, wet, muddy rocks. And Liberty was the first peak. Climbing up Mount Liberty here. This is insane. Truly spectacular. And it was beautiful again. We had great views on top of Liberty. We spent some time up there. It was just another great 360 views. Beautiful. We just had a blast. Then we started walking down. The next peak was Lincoln, and the peak after that was Lafayette. And we're going, it's awesome, all exposed above tree line. But as soon as we headed down off of the first one, which was Liberty, fog rolled in and we saw nothing again, which is a bummer for sure, because it was just spectacular on Liberty. But same thing, still lucky we got a nice view on Liberty. So the rest of the ridge is really neat, you know, spooky foggy, but we're still up above tree line, some neat flowers. We waited for a little while to hopefully get a nice view up on Lincoln, no, Lafayette, which is the highest peak on that Franconian Ridge, but got nothing. And then we headed down closer to our campsite. There's one more peak, and it was just starting to clear up, probably around 7 p.m. by now. So I stopped at that last peak. I think it's Galeville Mountain, something like that. And hoping to get a sunset there with Trainer. So we were waited for like a half hour, and it was clearing up, and once again, before you knew it, another cloud rolled in and it was all fogged in. So then we got nothing. So around 7:30, we just packed up and headed down to camp, which was Garfield tent site, or just past it. We camped just past Garfield tent site. And still with Trainer and Savage hiking. So we woke up at the Garfield tent site, and this is way up on the ridge, so the next day wasn't too bad, which was a little confusing, but yesterday from current time right now. So we got up at Garfield, then climbed up, so it was 2 miles to the next hut, which is Gailville Hut. And it was a neat little hut. It was kind of busy there, but really pretty, and it's just amazing how these could be in the middle of nowhere and self-sufficient with people just hiking in all the supplies. They just have a blast. It's a whole bunch of usually kids, or mostly college or kids just working there for the summer, or there's some people that are like ski instructors in the winter and work at these huts in the summer, which is also neat. So we do the Galeville Mountain, which is another high peak, which is a side trail. So we're going off trail to hit this peak. Another foggy day, not great views. So after that, we start heading up South Twin, which is the biggest climb of the day. Nice climb, but not so bad. Trail is pretty well maintained. Fogged in on top of South Twin, and we got this crazy idea to start hitting extra peaks that aren't on the AT, so we could start knocking them off the list and maybe one day get all 48 high peaks. So we did a 1.5 mile side trail to North Twin. So it was 3 extra miles yesterday. We went to North Twin, hit the high peak, came back to the AT and kept on hiking on the AT. Same thing, fogged in, nothing special. But it started raining. We had a couple other peaks off trail we wanted to hit, but it just didn't happen. We're like, it's not as fun in the rain. And we got to Zealand Hut, which is one more hut we hit this day. And they were cool people there, so they had a challenge. It was the Mega Caker Challenge, which is a pancake eating challenge, and of course, we're winners of the Mega Caker Challenge. So we got a little award, but it was this giant pancake that you had to eat in a minute, which was a fun little challenge. We had a blast and got a pancake out of it. But
put a lot of syrup on it.
Wow. All right.
Liquid, go.
Can we cut it in parts?
Beforehand? No.
Okay.
That's a whole thing.
All right.
Alright, clear the scene, folks. I realized that while taking the video, I could see the number of times that passed.
Okay. Oh, that's true.
But also, I'd like there to be a sound to name.
Get a timer going.
I'm gonna.
You guys have a timer?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
It says 50, 52, 52. Then.
All right.
You'll have
We
to
need
do
a
a
couple of
10-second
updates.
countdown.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm just gonna do a 5 that's about to go off, and then we can all make a really loud.
Is it like, are they going on one or are they going on go?
You're gonna go on go. It's gonna be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, but not yet. Okay.
All right.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, we should have given less time.
Oh my god, they're so fine. Get it.
Every crumb!
Down the gullet, down the gullet. Go!
You got it! No water!
Go, 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 go!
You're at 30 seconds! 25 seconds.
Make it.
This is actually good for us to know in the future.
This is our first
No water! No water! Oh, we got cheater!
That was a lot of paper. It is a sip. Fuck.
That was very nice. Come on.
That was great.
That was a thick pancake. That was a really good pancake.
How did it get like stuck in your
It was all stuck in
Oh, great. I might have had to do the Heimlich or something.
Oh no! What have we done? Never caker again!
You have to like pack it down if you do it.
You can't use any water to clean up.
and it's nice to it was raining, so we got out of the rain and hung out in this little lodge. It's like a ski lodge almost, a little mini ski lodge in the middle of nowhere. And so after that, we're headed to camp. There's a little side trail to a view, and it was nice. It just cleared up a little bit, and we could get views of the presidential range in the background, which was really neat. So we got this great view of the president, not great, but a cloudy, nice view. We got something, which was pretty cool. And the weather held out. We thought it was going to rain all evening, but we got to camp fairly early. It was probably 5 o'clock, set up on a stealth spot near Ethan Pond, which is where I am now. And yesterday, weather held out. It didn't rain all evening. It's still raining now, and it started around like 10 p.m. and it rained just all night long. But we're right near this beautiful stream, so I talked about it earlier, but I have a Tinkara fly fishing rod, which is like a backpacking fly rod that collapses, but there's no reel. So it's very minimalistic and pretty lightweight, but it's so much fun. So I spent a lot of time yesterday evening getting some fishing in and caught a few little beautiful brook trout in the stream. I've caught brook trout before, but I think this is my first truly wild native brook trout. So never stocked, never altered. Brook trout are the only native trout to New York, and they really, not only, but mostly live in these mountain streams. So I've caught them before stocked in rivers, but I think this is my first truly wild fish, which is really special. It was neat catching some of these little fish and exploring the stream. I was so excited to finally get some brook trout fishing in. That's why I really brought the rod along. So it was a nice evening, then we made some dinner, had a fire, and back to right now. Sitting in the tent, getting packed up. We are going to start the presidentials. We have 4 miles till we hit Crawford Notch, and then we start climbing up. We're going to stay at a campsite early on in the presidential range, and then tomorrow, hopefully the weather will be a little better. We're going to climb up Mount Washington and go into town after that. So a small day today, a big day tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Right now, it's rainy, and I'm delaying the inevitable of going out there. But it's about that time. I'm going to put on my raincoat and start packing up camp. Catch you out there.